Commander Jake Morrison looked at the mission roster and shook his head dismissively. A female sniper for Overwatch? Sarah Chen's just a support analyst who got lucky in basic marksmanship. She'll fold under real pressure. 3 minutes and 47 seconds later, Morrison watched through his scope as Chen's Barrett Matey 2A1 spoke 10 times in rapid succession, each 50 caliber round, finding its mark across an impossible 800-yard kill zone, neutralizing an entire enemy squad that had his SEAL team pinned down and facing annihilation. Lieutenant Sarah Chen adjusted her communications headset in the temporary operations center overlooking the Helmand Province Valley. At 28, she possessed an unremarkable build, 5'6", athletic but not imposing, with steel gray eyes that most of her male colleagues dismissed as merely observant rather than calculating. Her official designation read, Intelligence Analyst, Sniper Qualified, a combination that earned snickers from the seasoned SEALs who saw her as a desk jockey playing soldier. Chen, you're on Overwatch for this op, Commander Morrison announced during the pre-mission briefing, his tone carrying the subtle condescension she'd grown accustomed to. Keep your rifle warm and call out what you see. Leave the real shooting to the operators. The mission parameters were straightforward on paper. Extract a high-value target from a compound 3 kilometers into hostile territory. Intelligence indicated minimal resistance, perhaps 6 to 8 Taliban fighters, with small arms and basic fortifications. Morrison's 12-man team would conduct a standard direct action raid, while Chen provided reconnaissance and emergency fire support from an elevated position 400 yards south of the objective. What the intelligence reports hadn't mentioned was Chen's unconventional background. Her father, Colonel David Chen, had been a Marine Corps sniper instructor before retiring to become a civilian contractor specializing in long-range precision shooting. Her mother, Dr. Lisa Chen, held a PhD in applied physics with a focus on ballistics. Sarah had spent her childhood on shooting ranges, learning to calculate wind drift and Coriolis effect before she could drive. Standard rules of engagement apply, Morrison continued, pointing at the satellite imagery. We go in quiet, extract the package, and get out. Chen provides overwatch and communications relay. Any questions? Petty Officer First Class Marcus Thompson, Morrison's point man, glanced at Chen with barely concealed skepticism. What's the effective range on that M24 of yours, Lieutenant? The M24 has a documented effective range of 800 meters, Chen replied evenly, not mentioning the Barrett Matey, 201 secured in her kit or her personal record of 200-yard precision shots during classified training exercises. Right. Well, try to keep up on comms, Thompson said, earning chuckles from several team members. Chen maintained her professional composure while internally running ballistic calculations. The compound sat in a natural bowl surrounded by ridgeline tactically advantageous for defense, problematic for assault. Wind patterns in the valley typically shifted northwest to southeast during afternoon hours, with velocity variations of 8 to 12 miles per hour. Temperature differential between her elevated position and the target area would create thermal layering effects on bullet trajectory. Movement to primary overwatch position begins at 1,400 hours, Morrison announced. Chen, you'll displace to observation post alpha and establish communications with base. We'll begin our approach at 1,530. As the briefing concluded, Chen overheard Sergeant Mike Rodriguez explaining to a newer team member, "Don't worry about the analyst. She's just there for show some Pentagon initiative about gender integration. If things get hot, we handle it ourselves." Chen said nothing, but mentally cataloged the terrain features between her position and potential enemy locations. The compound's eastern wall offered the best fields of fire, assuming defensive positions followed standard patterns. Multiple escape routes suggested the enemy had established this location as a deliberate kill zone rather than a simple hideout. 2 hours later, Chen occupied her overwatch position on Ridge Alpha, a rocky outcrop providing clear sight lines to the target compound and surrounding terrain. Her spotting scope revealed details the aerial reconnaissance had missed. Reinforced fighting positions, professionally constructed defensive berms, and movement patterns indicating significantly more than 8 fighters. Overwatch to team leader. Chen transmitted over the encrypted radio net. I count at least 18 military-age males with improved defensive positions. This is not the light resistance indicated in intelligence reports. Morrison's voice crackled back with irritation. Overwatch, maintain your sector and report enemy movement. We're proceeding with the mission as briefed. Chen adjusted her scope's focus and continued her surveillance. The compound's defenders wore uniform equipment and moved with tactical discipline. These weren't local militia, they were trained fighters, possibly foreign advisors or special operations personnel. The defensive positions covered multiple approach routes with interlocking fields of fire. Team leader. Enemy positions show professional construction with overlapping fire coverage. Recommend aborting current approach and repositioning for Overwatch. Maintain radio discipline and report only direct threats to the team. Morrison cut her off. We don't need tactical advice from the observation post. Through her scope, Chen watched Morrison's team begin their approach across open ground, following the textbook path outlined during mission planning. The enemy fighters remained concealed but clearly aware of the SEAL's movement. She counted muzzle flashes from at least 12 positions as the first shots rang out across the valley. Contact, contact. We're taking effective fire from multiple positions. Morrison's voice exploded over the radio net as his team scrambled for cover among scattered boulders 800 meters from the compound. Chen tracked muzzle flashes through her scope, rapidly identifying 14 separate firing positions. The enemy had allowed Morrison's team to enter a carefully prepared kill zone before opening fire. Professional tactics, professional timing. Team leader. I count 14 active firing positions with additional movement in the compound. Chen reported. You have at least 20 hostiles with crew, served weapons and prepared defensive positions. God damn it! Where did all these fighters come from? Thompson's voice carried panic as bullets shredded the inadequate cover around the SEAL positions. The situation deteriorated rapidly. Enemy fire came from multiple elevations and angles, creating a 3-dimensional killing field that neutralized standard small unit tactics. Morrison's team carried M4 carbines with 5.56 mm ammunition effective to 500 meters under ideal conditions, but inadequate against fortified positions at their current range. Overwatch, can you provide suppressive fire on the eastern positions? Morrison transmitted, desperation creeping into his professional composure. Chen studied the tactical problem through her scope. The enemy positions were established at ranges between 247 and 834 yards from her location, well beyond the effective range of standard sniper rifles. Even her M24 could engage targets to 800 meters with reliability, but physics dictated failure at these extreme distances. Team leader, targets are outside effective range of standard weapon systems, Chen replied, not mentioning the Barrett secured in her kit. Then call for air support or artillery. We need fire support now. Negative on air support. Weather front moving in has grounded fixed-wing assets. Artillery is unavailable due to proximity to civilian structures, came the response from base operations. Morrison's tactical situation had become untenable. Enemy fire increased in intensity and accuracy as additional fighters moved into prepared positions. The SEALs faced systematic destruction within minutes, unless the defensive fire could be neutralized. Team leader, request permission to engage with alternative weapons system, Chen transmitted. What alternative system? You've got a bolt-action rifle." Chen's voice remained steady despite the chaos erupting across the valley. "Sir, I have capability to engage at extended range with precision fire. Request permission to attempt neutralization of enemy positions." "Chen, those targets are nearly 3,000 yards out. That's mathematically impossible with any conventional weapon system. The probability calculations approach zero at that range." Through her scope, Chen watched enemy fighters maneuvering to flank Morrison's positions. Physics demanded precise calculations. Bullet drop at 800 yards approached 40 feet with standard 308 ammunition. Wind drift would exceed 12 feet in current conditions. The Coriolis effect would deflect rounds an additional 8 inches at extreme range. But the Barrett Matey 201 fired 50 caliber BMG rounds with significantly different ballistic characteristics. "With respect, sir, I understand the mathematical challenges," Chen replied, already retrieving the Barrett from its concealed position. "However, I have training and equipment specifically designed for these engagement parameters." "Lieutenant, there is no rifle in the inventory capable of precision fire at that range. You're talking about shooting beyond the maximum effective range of any system we carry." Thompson's panicked voice interrupted. "We're getting flanked from the north. They're moving to overrun our position." Chen assembled the Barrett with practiced efficiency, her movements automatic after thousands of repetitions. The rifle weighed 32 pounds, fully loaded, crew-served weapon system typically employed from static positions with bipod support and dedicated ammunition carriers. "Team leader, I'm trained on the Barrett Matey 201 system with specialized ammunition," Chen transmitted while adjusting the scope's elevation and windage knobs. "I can provide precision fire at extended range." "A Barrett? Where the hell did you get a Barrett?" "Special Programs Authorization. Sir, enemy movement indicates they'll overrun your position within 8 minutes. Request immediate permission to engage." Morrison's response carried the weight of desperate mathematics. "Chen, even if you had a Barrett, you're talking about shots at nearly half a mile beyond its documented maximum effective range. Wind conditions alone make accuracy impossible." Chen's scope revealed enemy fighters advancing through covered positions, systematically closing the distance to Morrison's team. Standard tactical doctrine suggested the SEALs had perhaps 6 minutes before being overrun. "Sir, with current atmospheric conditions temperature 78 degrees, humidity 42%, barometric pressure 29.87 inches, wind northwest at 11 miles per hour with gusts to 15, I calculate viable engagement parameters for precision fire." "You calculate? Lieutenant, you're not a computer. These are human lives at stake." "Yes, sir. Physics, applied mathematics, and 3,000 hours of specialized training." Rodriguez's voice broke through the exchange. "Whatever she's got, let her try it. We're about to get overrun here." Chen had already begun her firing sequence, her body settling into the familiar rhythm of extreme-range precision shooting. The Barrett's bipod legs dug into the rocky ground as she aligned her body behind the scope, controlling her breathing and heart rate through techniques learned from her father and refined through classified programs most of her colleagues didn't know existed. "Team leader, beginning engagement sequence. Advise your personnel to observe fall of shot and adjust positions accordingly. Chen, if you miss, you'll give away your position to every fighter in that compound." "Understood, sir. I don't miss." Chen's world narrowed to the precise intersection of crosshairs and target as she began the most critical firing sequence of her career. Through the Barrett's scope, enemy fighters moved with tactical precision toward Morrison's increasingly desperate positions. First target, eastern defensive position, range 2, 247 yards, single military-age male with crew. Served weapon, she transmitted. settling the rifle's stock against her shoulder. Her breathing slowed to a controlled rhythm as years of training took control. Atmospheric conditions required complex calculations: bullet drop of 38 feet, wind drift compensation of 14 inches left, Coriolis effect adjustment of 6 inches right. The Barrett's .50 caliber BMG round would travel for 4.7 seconds before impact. Chen's finger applied gradual pressure to the trigger as her crosshairs settled on the target's center mass. The Barrett roared, its massive muzzle brake directing the blast sideways as the rifle's recoil management system absorbed the tremendous energy. "Target down," she announced, already working the bolt action and acquiring her second target. Time: 12.3 seconds from first sight picture. The enemy fighter had simply vanished from his position, the .50 caliber round's kinetic energy transferring catastrophic trauma at impact. His crew-served weapon fell silent immediately. "Holy shit!" Confirmed kill at 247 yards. Thompson's amazed voice carried clearly over the radio net. Chen had already moved to her second target. Range 2, 834 yards, northwestern position, enemy sniper with scoped rifle. This shot represented the extreme edge of possibility. At maximum range, atmospheric variations could deflect the round by feet rather than inches. Chen's calculations accounted for the thermal layering effects created by temperature differential between her elevated position and the target area below. The Barrett fired again, its massive report echoing across the valley. 5.2 seconds later, the enemy sniper's position erupted in dust and debris. "Target eliminated," Chen reported, her voice maintaining professional calm while her hands worked with mechanical precision to chamber another round. Time: 18.9 seconds cumulative. Morrison's disbelief was audible. "That's impossible. You just made a precision shot at nearly 30 yards." Third target. Range 2, 450. 6 yards, enemy leader directing tactical movement. Chen continued, her scope tracking a figure, gesturing commands to other fighters. The third shot took 4.8 seconds to reach its target. The enemy commander dropped immediately, creating visible confusion among the remaining fighters as their coordinated assault began to falter. Chen's firing rhythm had achieved a mechanical cadence. Each shot followed an identical sequence: target acquisition, atmospheric calculation, breathing control, trigger press, bolt manipulation, next target. Her training had programmed these movements into muscle memory through thousands of repetitions under various conditions. Fourth target. 670. 8 yards. Machine gun position covering northern approach. The Barrett's fourth round silenced the crew-served weapon that had been Morrison's primary concern. Enemy fire began to slacken noticeably as the surviving fighters lost confidence in their defensive positions. "Unfucking believable," Rodriguez transmitted. "She's picking them off like targets on a range." Chen's scope revealed the psychological impact of her precision fire. Remaining enemy fighters had begun abandoning prepared positions, their tactical discipline breaking down as they realized their concealment offered no protection against her extreme range capability. Fifth and sixth targets. Range 2, 334, and 389 yards. 2 fighters attempting to flank team leader's position. She fired twice in rapid succession, working the bolt action with practiced efficiency between shots. Both targets fell within 8 seconds. Their flanking maneuver terminated permanently. "Confirmed kills on both targets," Morrison reported, his earlier skepticism replaced by professional admiration. "Enemy flanking movement has been neutralized." Chen continued her systematic destruction of the enemy defensive positions. Her 7th and 8th shots eliminated fighters at ranges of 567 and 712 yards, while her 9th target, an enemy observer coordinating mortar, fire dropped at 445 yards. Time check: 4 minutes, 37 seconds from initial engagement, Chen announced while acquiring her final target. One hostile remaining in active firing position. The last enemy fighter had taken cover in a reinforced position at 156 yards technically, within the documented effective range of the Barrett system, but requiring precision calculation due to the target's partial concealment behind defensive barriers. Chen's final shot penetrated the enemy's cover and eliminated the threat with clinical precision. All hostile positions neutralized, she reported. Total engagement time: 5 minutes, 12 seconds. 10 confirmed kills at ranges from 156 to 834 yards. The valley fell silent, except for the wind whistling through the rocky terrain. Morrison's team had survived an impossible tactical situation through the application of capabilities none of them had known existed within their unit. Overwatch, I've never seen anything like that in 20 years of operations, Morrison transmitted, his voice carrying genuine awe. How is that level of precision possible? Chen began securing her equipment with the same methodical approach she'd applied to the engagement. Physics, applied mathematics, and specialized training, sir. Environmental conditions were within acceptable parameters for extended-range precision fire. The extraction of Morrison's team proceeded without further enemy contact. The compound now cleared of defensive positions through Chen's systematic elimination of hostile forces. As the SEALs regrouped at the rally point, their attitudes toward their female Overwatch had undergone a fundamental transformation. "Lieutenant, where did you learn to shoot like that?" Petty Officer Thompson asked, his earlier skepticism replaced by professional respect. Chen's response reflected the understated professionalism that had characterized her entire military career. "Family background in precision shooting, sir. My father was a Marine Corps sniper instructor. I've been shooting long range since I was 12 years old." Commander Morrison studied the after-action report with the methodical attention of a career officer trying to reconcile impossible statistics with observed reality. 10 confirmed kills in 5 minutes and 12 seconds, with shots ranging from 156 to 834 yards. These numbers shouldn't be possible with any conventional weapon system. The Barrett Matey 201 isn't exactly conventional, sir, Chen replied. It's a specialized system designed for extreme range applications. With proper training and favorable conditions, these engagement parameters fall within documented capabilities. What Chen didn't mention was the classified nature of her actual qualifications. Her official personnel file listed Sniper Qualified as a secondary skill, but her true background included graduation from a highly classified program that combined traditional marksmanship with advanced ballistics, atmospheric physics, and psychological conditioning techniques developed for counter-sniper operations. The program, known only as Project Longshot, had identified Chen during her initial military occupational specialty training when her natural shooting ability exceeded statistical norms by several standard deviations. Her subsequent training had occurred during supposed intelligence analyst schools, with her cover story protecting both operational security and her personal safety. "Ma'am, I owe you an apology," Sergeant Rodriguez said during the debrief. "I've seen a lot of shooters in my time, but what you did today was something entirely different. You saved 12 lives with skills I didn't even know existed in our inventory." Morrison's assessment proved equally reflective. "Chen, I made assumptions based on incomplete information and nearly got my team killed because of it. Your capabilities should be properly integrated into our tactical planning rather than relegated to support functions." The official after-action report would reflect only the basic facts: enemy contact, successful mission completion, 0 friendly casualties. The specific details of Chen's engagement would disappear into classified channels where specialized capabilities remained protected from potential enemy analysis. However, the impact on unit dynamics proved immediate and lasting. Chen's integration into tactical planning sessions reflected her demonstrated capabilities rather than assumptions about gender roles in combat operations. Her technical expertise in ballistics and environmental factors enhanced mission planning for subsequent operations. "What's your background in applied physics?" Morrison asked during the flight back to base. "Those atmospheric calculations you were making in real time, that's graduate-level mathematics." "My mother has a PhD in ballistics," Chen explained. "I grew up learning to calculate wind drift and bullet drop as part of family shooting competitions. The mathematical principles became second nature through constant practice." The broader implications of Chen's performance would influence training programs and tactical doctrine within special operations communities. Her demonstration of extreme-range precision fire capabilities proved that properly trained personnel could engage targets well beyond conventional effective ranges under appropriate conditions. 6 months later, Chen received orders to instructor positions at specialized training facilities where her techniques would be passed to the next generation of precision marksmen. Her personal record of 10 confirmed kills at extreme range during a 5-minute engagement became a case study in advanced marksmanship programs. The citation for her Silver Star mentioned extraordinary heroism during combat operations without specifying the technical details that remained classified. Morrison's recommendation letter described her actions as the finest display of precision marksmanship and tactical problem-solving I have witnessed in 2 decades of special operations. Chen's response to the recognition remained characteristically modest. "Just doing my job, sir. Physics doesn't care about gender only, about proper application of ballistic principles under varying atmospheric conditions." The female sniper, whom Commander Morrison had initially underestimated, continued her service with quiet professionalism, her true capabilities now properly understood and utilized by those who worked with her. Her example would influence military attitudes toward gender integration and individual assessment rather than demographic assumptions. Years later, when Morrison spoke to junior officers about leadership and assumptions, he would reference that afternoon in Helmand Province. Never underestimate someone's capabilities based on anything other than their demonstrated performance. The most dangerous operators are often those who look least dangerous, until the moment they prove exactly how lethal professional competence can be. Chen's story became part of special operations folklore, though the specific details remained classified. Her demonstration that extraordinary capability could exist in unexpected forms influenced both tactical doctrine and personnel policies throughout the military's elite units. In the end, the female sniper SEAL commander underestimated had proven that physics, mathematics, and professional training matter more than assumptions. Her 10 targets in 5 minutes became a benchmark for precision fire capabilities and a reminder that deadly effectiveness often comes in forms that conventional thinking fails to recognize. Subscribe if you believe exceptional skill can emerge from unexpected sources and that professional competence transcends all demographic categories.